everyone, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean. And I'm here today to guide you through a great yin yoga practice that's going to help to release some stored energy, some chi from our gallbladder meridian and also from our urinary tract meridian, because these are places that we, according to traditional Chinese medicine, tend to just hold on to energy, and that can increase our reoccurrence of headaches. I've been chatting with a lot of people who've been feeling headaches lately. You know, maybe it's weather related, maybe it's weather and energy related. So why not just give this a whirl? We're going to start in just a couple of minutes in Sukhasana, in some sort of an easy seated position. I encourage you to bring a couple blocks to today's practice. They're really just going to come into play particularly for a forward fold that we're going to be doing from seated as a place to place your elbows. So if you don't happen to have blocks, but maybe you have like a little stack of books or a teeny little stool or something that you can bring nearby. And as always, as we get started in Sukhasana, if you find that sitting down is not the most comfortable position for you, then go ahead, lift your sit bones up and allow those knees to start sloping towards the floor. We are going to officially get started in 3 minutes, but if you want to come down to the floor right now, starting in Sukhasana, or as I was just suggesting, sitting yourself up a little bit to be more opening your Sukhasana. Great options. I recommend grabbing some water, having a couple sips before class. We won't have any specific water breaks. Wear some comfortable, loose clothing. I'm gonna get my aromatherapy magic happening. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. Go back. Oh, you want some water too? Okay. Go gadget timers. Fred, you're such a jerk. I already bragged you with peanuts. It's not my fault if you ate them all. You're such a dirty birdie. Oh my god, and now you're being mean. Well, now you get mean. Whoa. Now you get nothing. I dropped one. Entertain yourself. You're so mean. And now to just let it go with some yoga. Okay. Uncle Buck, also please move. Great. Have your blocks nearby. Hello everyone, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm here to guide you through a great yin yoga practice. Today's practice is intended to help to release stored energy from our gallbladders and from our urinary tract meridians that might be causing some headaches, as according to traditional Chinese medicine, that is where we tend to store some energy that leads headaches. Okay, so starting off in Sukhasana, an easy pose. If you want to, you can sit yourself up on a folded towel, on a meditation cushion, on your favorite pillow from the couch. And just come into a seated position that you can find some stillness in. Start to really work to relax your breath, to relax your mind, to relax your body. So give yourself a scan from the top of your head all the way down to your toes, and before you do anything else, just notice how you're feeling today. How's your mind feel? How's your body feel? What's happening with your breath? How can we just work to love ourselves, to create a little bit more space and opening? Showing up here is such a beautiful start. Please remember that today's practice is practice. It's not perfect. So just do the best that you can with the body that you have today, because your best is always enough. Let's take another 1 minute, simply relaxed in our breath. If you find yourself distracted by the sounds or the motions around you, tune into your breath a little bit more. Maybe you even find that you need to make your inhale or exhale a little bit louder, or the snoring more pronounced, to just distract you from any outside sounds. And if you find that you're looking around the room right now and you see things that you need to tend to, just go ahead, close your eyes, and do the best that you can to create the shapes that I describe to you through today's practice. Okay, so our first active passive posture of the day, oh my gosh, is going to be shoelace. You can stay lifted gently if you would like to. I'm going to go ahead and come off of my block. Once again, make sure that your yoga blocks are nearby, because we're going to use them in about 15 minutes. Okay. So I want you to keep your left leg down on the mat. You might even want to bring that left heel a little bit closer towards your glutes. And then we're gonna take our right leg and cross it over the left. As you start to shift the weight forward, see if you can stack those knees. You might find yourself feeling really tempted to draw your heels towards the center line of your body, but it's okay if you actually open things up. Maybe you have your knees stacked as best as they can be, but your shins are a little bit more in line with the top of your mat. So you're gonna feel a little bit more of a stretch if you do that, or at least I'm feeling a little bit more of the stretch towards the outside of the legs. That means that we're really working towards the gallbladder, getting that little stretch on the outside of the legs. So with your right leg on top, we're gonna go ahead and drop the right ear to the right shoulder. So working to come into your stillness, working to keep that breath nice and slow. Make sure you didn't come into a stretch that's so deep that you're limiting your breath, and notice what's happening with your shoulders. Allow them to relax as much as possible. Maybe you even take a little bit of a forward hinge if that feels good, and the forward hinge is likely to make you feel the stretch even more on the outside of your thighs, maybe even a tad more in the hips. Take 3 more slow breaths right here. Perhaps you've started to practice some ujjayi breathing, a slight constriction of the throat. Pressing the tip of the tongue up to the top of the mouth, right where the gum line meets the teeth, to create that delightful snoring sensation, like the roll of the ocean. All right, let's take a moment. Bring your head back up through center. We're going to release the grip that we have if you're holding onto your ankles at all. Inhale those arms up overhead. Go ahead, interlace your fingers and bring them to the back of your head. As you tuck your chin towards your chest, stretch those elbows towards the front of the room. You still have your right leg stacked on top of the left. Maybe stretching your elbows slightly in towards each other to activate more of that upper back. Try to really work on finding the stretch forward with your elbows as opposed to the pressure down on the back of your head. And if you find that you're really just applying a lot of pressure on the back of the head, you can always separate your hands and bring your fingertips to your shoulders to just take away that temptation to push down. We'll take 3 more breaths right here. And then on your exhale, you can release your hands back down to the tops of your ankles, and this time use your exhale to drop your left ear to your left shoulder. What's happening with those shoulders? Are they rounding forward? If you notice that you still have that rounding in your back, like we just found from that elbow stretch forward, find a little bit of a lift through from your chest, roll those shoulders down and back, and then come back into your stretch for the neck. So there's a little lift of the chest. Just about 1 minute left right here. Take your time, bring your chin back towards your chest. Use your inhale to lift your head up. We're gently going to release any sort of grip we have on our legs. You can even bring your hands behind you. We're going to take that top leg, your right leg, we're going to swing it around behind us to come into deer pose for just a minute. You can come into as tight or as open of a deer pose as you want. Feel free to even start to get a little bit more into stimulating the spine, so maybe taking a twist towards your left leg and just using your exhale to relax that right glute towards the floor, to be supported in your stretch. The more that you really relax that glute towards the floor too, the more you'll really start to bring the stretch through the side of the body. Nice, take one more big breath here. And then you can bring both of your hands back behind you. Take your time, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Take a moment, just windshield wipe those legs gently. Once again, feeling the stretch creating on the outer thighs. Outer thighs, working a little bit more into that gallbladder, and as you feel that stretch a little bit more on your inner thighs, working towards the urinary tract meridian. Okay, we're gonna do the same stretch with our legs, but this time opposite. So this time right leg on the bottom, You can shift your weight to cross your left leg over your right. Do your best to stack your knees, maybe even shifting your hips. Remember, you can keep everything in really close, or see if you can get those shins parallel with the floor. And remember, both sides of our body are not the same, so if you came into a deeper stretch on this side, great. And if you are like, what? On this side, that's also great. We're gonna go for some eagle arms now. So go ahead, inhale those arms up overhead. Exhale, we're gonna bring the right arm underneath and the left arm on top to start. So go ahead, cross deeply at the elbows. If your shoulders are really tight, if you wanna be really passive in this posture, you can always just reach towards the opposite shoulder to get a little bit more stimulation. See if you can get your thumbs towards your face. Shift the weight forward slightly. Just come back to your breath right here. As you gently stretch those elbows forward, maybe your fingertips even come a little closer towards the top of your head as opposed to stretching towards the front of the room. You might even want to rest your fingers on your forehead to help encourage your stillness. We'll spend 1 more minute right here. Remember, it's really normal in yin yoga to feel shaking or trembling, to feel just so much awakening happening that's outside our realm of control. So just let it happen. Maybe you have some emotions stir up that you weren't entirely expecting. Feel any feelings that come your way. Enjoy them without any sort of judgment. Just continue to support yourself here in the moment. Just breathing and being and letting everything else go. We're working to create a noticeable stretch. If you're lucky, you're creating a noticeable, maybe even a little bit of an uncomfortable stretch. And then just working back to your breath of finding some comfort in the uncomfortable. Get ready to gently release those hands. So maybe your exhale, your elbows come down a little bit. Inhale those arms all the way up overhead, keeping that left leg on top of the right. This time we're going to bring the left arm underneath of the right. Once again, cross deeply at the elbows. Maybe you need to reach for your shoulder. Maybe you can interlace your hands palms together. Maybe you're just grab and hold in one thumb. See what you can do with your body today. Find a little engagement of that abdominal core to keep your back feeling good. Back to your beautiful slow breaths, really working to open up the upper back, the shoulders here. Getting that deep stretch happening in the legs as well. Give me 3 of your slowest, most relaxed breaths of all day. Use that exhale to allow those elbows to sink a little bit more, to slowly, gently release. Let's inhale those arms up 1 more time. Find that slightly active stretch and then exhale. Relax your hands back behind you. We're going to come into our deer pose on the opposite side. So this time left leg comes back behind us. Maybe you can bring the sole of the right foot to the top of your left thigh bicep and use your breath. Use that exhale to see if you can work and release that left glute back down towards the floor. You can find that beautiful twist. Just scan your body in. Really ask yourself, where do you feel the stretch? And some days, honestly, some days I still don't know. So much about yoga really is relaxing our minds. Just so much tension up there. Right now we're just stimulating the sides of the body, stimulating the spine to just help us to open and relax our mind. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I forgot that we were gonna use the blocks. It's too late now. We're gonna keep going. All right, go ahead, kick your legs out nice and wide. We're gonna come into full dragonfly, and you know what? I'll bring it into play here for full dragonfly. All right, I want you to maybe shift a little bit right and left so you can find a nice gentle rotation of that pelvis, a little tilt forward. Yeah. Great, you can have your hands down on the floor. Let's go ahead and bring these blocks into play. If it feels good for you, I know the stretch might be really hard on some people already. If it's already feeling too much on the back of your legs, I want you to find a prop, whether it be just a pillow or a towel that you can grab off of a couch or a chair nearby, just to gently lift your hips up. But if you're feeling a little open, we're gonna hinge forward from here. You're gonna bring your elbows down onto the block. You're gonna interlace your fingers except for your pointer finger. You can bring your thumb to your third eye, your drishti, and I want you to find that forward hinge. But can you take the forward hinge without bringing a lot of rounding into your back? So keeping that big tilt forward from the hips and pelvis, a little Kali Mudra with the hands. Continue to work to relax your shoulders away from your ears, and ideally you have a nice long flat back. Let's spend one more minute right here. All right, begin to bring your thumbs away from your forehead and lift yourself back up. Keep your right leg extended and fold your left leg in. You might want to bring your blocks with you as we come into a little half dragonfly. But we're going to find a reach towards the side. So if your leg feels really far, if it feels better for you to rest your elbow on a block, you can find a little bit more opening on your side, but remember we're working towards stillness by either just reaching up towards the ceiling, maybe taking a little bend of your elbow. We're gonna spend a total of 3 minutes here from right now. Just working to stimulate that side body. Remember, if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving, so find one spot to relax your eyes, relax your mind, and then start to scan your body. So we're working to feel a stretch on the sides of our body. You probably feel a bit of a stretch also along the back of your extended right leg, just depending on how tight it's feeling. You don't need to worry about flexing your toes back towards your face. You can find a little internal rotation of your legs if that feels good. Really just create as noticeable of a side body stretch and stimulation as you can, while still enjoying your long, slow, full deep breaths. You know where you tend to come back to holding your tension. So check in with that part of your body. Are you squeezing your eyes or eyebrows? Are you holding your breath? Are you bringing tension back into your chest or your shoulders? Are you squeezing your glutes more than you need to? We're more than halfway through with this posture. I'm doing the best that I can to really also open up the left side of my body towards the ceiling, as opposed to collapsing down towards the floor, which takes out a lot of the side body stretch. So ask yourself, is it possible, now that you've been in the stretch for for 2 minutes, to open and rotate that chest open a little bit more? Maybe you even feel more of a stretch all the way up into your armpit, into those lymph nodes. Take 2 more breaths right here. And on your exhale, we're going to gently lift ourselves up. I'm going to bring the left hand down towards the floor and find a big counter stretch, reaching the right hand fingertips to the left side of the body. And then inhaling back up to center. Great, let's go ahead and switch those legs out. So stretching the left leg out, folding the right leg in. Just noticing how this side of your body feels. Back to your beautiful breath. First, come into just whatever side stretch works for you. And remember, you can bring those blocks with you. If it feels good to maybe bring your arm towards the inside or to the outside of your leg, as opposed to actually reaching towards the foot. Maybe the foot feels really far away and you just want to even place a block on your leg. Like literally whatever works for you. We're looking to find what feels good. Options to inhale that right arm up towards the ceiling, and either just keep reaching it up if that's what honors your body, or taking a bend of that elbow and just working to find a little bit more rotation. After you've taken a couple breaths here, really take the opportunity to check in with your body. I know that for me, when I come into a lot of these stretches, I think, wow, this feels so relaxing. I'm so relaxed. And then if I really ask myself, I notice I can draw my shoulders a little bit more away from my ears. Find a little bit more length in my spine just with my breath. Take a little extra tension out of my glutes and even relax the toes, relax the fingers. Yin yoga is a great opportunity to move away from that horrible cartoon of this is fine. To really ask yourself how your body feels. Like, is this really fine? How can it be a little bit better? Coming to about the last minute of the stretch, notice if you have rotated that chest down towards the floor, and see if you can draw that right shoulder up and open just a little bit more here at the very end. Do you feel any shaking or trembling? Because you're just accessing the fascia, ligaments, tissue, bones. So many just parts of our body we don't always get the time to really sit and bring stretch and length and breath to. Take your last 2 breaths right here. And on that exhale, gently lift yourself up. We're going to slowly lay down, and we're going to come into a reclined butterfly. Perhaps you want to keep some blocks nearby. You might want to put a little something underneath the outsides of your legs. So unlike reclined, ooh, something, it's giving me feelings. Stimulated something there. Okay, so instead of reclined bound angle, where you have your heels really close towards the center line of your body, I want you to walk your feet out about 1.5 feet so you have a nice big diamond shape. And then notice where you're feeling this. So everybody is going to feel this a little bit differently. Some people might feel this big time on the outer thighs, which again is the gallbladder. Some people might feel it big time on the inner thighs, which is stimulating the urinary tract, and some people might feel a little bit of both. You can do whatever feels right with your arms. This is going to be one of our longest postures of the day. We're going to spend 5 minutes right here. So come into that ultimate stillness. Start that total body scan right here at the top of our time. Can you relax a little bit more of the back of your head, of the tips of your shoulders on the mat? Can you find a little bit more grounding through your lower back and your glutes? Well, yes, we are creating a nice opening of the hips. We're also just creating a different stimulation. I mean, you might feel this because we also are really getting so much through the thighs, a little bit through the hamstrings. Maybe you feel it in your quads, might feel it in your lower back. All of these body parts are so connected. Bringing you back to the idea that if your eyes are moving, your mind is moving. So if you're like laser focused on anything on the ceiling, or if your eyes are darting around, just close them. See if closing your eyes can bring you more relaxation in your body. I know we're working to keep this stillness. However, if you find that as this time is going on, that your noticeable stretching sensation goes from being on the edge of uncomfortable and starts to teeter over into pain, then I encourage you to take things a little bit more easy on yourself. Maybe putting that block underneath of your thighs so that there's a little less pressure in the opening of your hips and the stimulation here. We've got 1 minute left, and I ask you to just take note from right now, how many breaths does it take you to get to the 1 minute mark? Final 10 seconds. And change. Gently begin to wiggle your toes. Bring a little stimulation back into that lower body as you begin to dig the heels of your feet into the floor. You can gently start to walk them in closer to the center line of your body. We're going to draw our knees in towards our chest. Oh, you can have them nice and wide. I want you to really focus on keeping that lower back down on the floor. So drawing your knees in towards your chest didn't create a big curling of your tailbone. Thinking about the very tippy end of your spine, of your sacrum, of working to press that into the mat, as opposed to drawing your knees in towards your chest and lifting your glutes gently off the floor. I want you to be as supported as possible. All right, you can either rock yourself up like a ball, give yourself a couple of rocks back and forth, or maybe you want to roll over onto your side and gently press yourself up to a seated position. We're going to kick our legs out in front of us for caterpillar. And I'm going to give those of you who want a little bit more, who are ready for more, an option to come into snail, to come into, or plow, or however you want to, or deaf man, however you want to think about it. So I'm going to turn with my back towards you, super tucked my shirt in, because in just about 2 minutes, we're going to have an option to go a little bit deeper. So coming into caterpillar, take that minute to walk those glutes back behind you. Remember, you can use some props here. So using your blocks or your pillows or whatever, you can relax your hands. Just finding a nice little forward hinge. So your belly is coming towards your thighs. And once again, if the back of your legs are really tight, you could take that bend in your knees, press your heels into the floor to find that little bit of a forward fold. Maybe you even need to keep your hands down on the floor. All right, we've got 1 minute left here in caterpillar. If you're gonna come into a plow pose with me, or snail, maybe you've got 2.5 minutes left here in caterpillar. If you have any sort of neck pain, I discourage you from joining me in snail. Just keep this little forward hinge at the hips. Otherwise, option to just make this a little bit more intense. We're going to slowly lower yourself down on your back. Bring your forearms down towards the mat. We're going to bring our legs up towards the ceiling. You can even walk your hands in a little bit closer. Sometimes it helps to give yourself a couple rocks back and forth, and maybe on the 3rd or 4th rock, you're going to work to bring the tops of your toes down towards the floor. And you can even take a generous bend in your knees. Now, if you've come into this and you found, wow, that is too much for me, then I encourage you to just come on back into caterpillar. You can bring your hands to your lower back for some support. Try not to turn or twist your head or neck here. How many breaths did it take you to get to 1 minute before?
because we've got a total of 2 here. Don't worry, we're already in it to win it. Wherever you are, you're still just working to enjoy some stillness. If you came into snail, start to draw those knees in and slowly roll yourself back down, one vertebrae at a time. And if you are in caterpillar, then you just get to bring your feet to the floor, because we're going to roll ourselves over, coming into tabletop. Stack your hands underneath of your shoulders and your hips on top of your knees. Think about bringing a prop with you towards the top of your mat, because you're going to walk your hands forward while keeping your hips stacked on top of your knees for a melting hearts pose. If it's easy for you to get that head all the way down towards the floor, great. Having your head a little lifted is going to make it a little bit easier. Opening those hands nice and wide is going to make it a little bit easier. And you can allow that chest and belly to really sink down towards the floor. Applying some pressure onto the top of your head is just going to help to stimulate your nervous system a little bit more. We're going to spend 5 more slow breaths right here. Ooh, some real trembling in those arms. All right, start to walk those hands back. Maybe you felt a lot of pressure in your lower back. Remember, everyone's body is different and every day is different. Send your hips back towards your heels for just a second. Stretch those hands forward. Take a moment in your child's pose, and then we're going to roll over onto our backs again. I'm going to give you one more little spine twist before we come into our final Savasana. So as you lay down on your back, draw your knees back in towards your chest, but keep that lower back down on the floor. So remember, knees don't have to come all the way towards the chest. We're going to inhale, send our legs up towards the ceiling. Still keeping that lower back down on the floor. Just allowing all of the blood to really come on down back to our heart. Just helping us to relax a little bit. All right, once again, draw your knees in towards your chest. Go ahead, extend your left leg. Extend your left arm out to the side as well. And I want you to bring that left arm, your hand palm, about in line with your ears, or maybe even higher. Oh my gosh. And gently drop your right knee over the side of your body. Can you keep your left shoulder? Oh, I meant to say bring your right hand out in line with your ear or higher. Not your left hand. That would be silly. Because reaching a little bit higher through that right hand is going to bring the stretch all through the side of your body. Just a little bit more. If you need to, you can bend both of your knees, be supported here in your stretch, or you can keep that lower leg extended. It's just going to make you feel it a little bit more. On your next big inhale, draw your knees back in towards your chest. On your exhale, send your legs back up towards the ceiling. We'll take another cycle of breath here with legs lifted. Exhale, bend those knees again. This time extending your right leg as much as you can. We're going to drop the left leg over the right side of the body. Remember, you can draw both of those knees in as you need to. Get your left hand this time in line with your ear or higher. Look towards that hand. Take your time, use your next inhale to draw both of those knees back in the direction of your chest while keeping that lower back on the mat. Use your exhale to relax your feet back down towards the floor. We're going to send them all the way out. You might want to reposition your body just a little bit. Maybe lift up your glutes or shimmy and shake your shoulders. As we come here into our final Savasana, let's spend 1 minute of complete stillness here in our Savasana together. And then I encourage you to spend as much time here as you possibly can, but 1 minute is all the time that we have together before the end of class. I hope that you will challenge yourself to stay here on the floor in your Savasana for at least another 1, if not 2 minutes. Encouraging you to bring a little self-practice and discipline here at the end of our practice together. I just want to thank you so much for coming and joining me and partaking in today's Yin Yoga experience. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did today, as always, I hope you will reach out. So you see me again. Continue to think good thoughts, to speak good words, to eat good foods, and do good deeds to nourish yourself from the inside and out. If you'd like to bring your thumb up with your hands, palms in namaskar to your third eye. Just tapping on that space to create some awareness. I just, as always, remind you how thankful I am that you came and made this time for you and joined me. The light within me sees and honors and is so thankful to be met with the light within you. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day and end of your practice. Namaste.